What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
What is your message to Iran in this moment?
Don't.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. I don't care.
America, let me tell you what's happening right now, because it is absolutely historic. And the lamestream media is absolutely, obviously terrified to tell you the truth about what's happening here. The Trump administration just authorized the largest military operation against Iran in modern history. And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth just sent a message to every terrorist on the planet that's going to make your blood pump for America. We're talking about dismantling Iran's nuclear program, obliterating their navy, and sending a message that the era of America apologizing for strength is over. Finito burrito. Need you guys to listen to this entire report first, because Trump just unleashed something that's going to change the entire Middle East. And obviously, the Democrats, they're absolutely losing their mind over this.
Is Christian Cordero. This morning, attacks continue across the Middle East as Iran continues its retaliation against the U.S. and Israel's massive operation that killed many of its top leaders, including the Ayatollah. Welcome back. I'm Tim Caputo. When faced with mounting questions about why the U.S. launched this attack against Iran, the Trump administration is pushing back.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, there, and President Trump say Iran's leadership was not willing to stop their nuclear research or their push for a nuclear weapon. ABC's Christian Cordero has the latest from Washington.
With the U.S. military operation in Iran stretching into its third day, today President Trump stood before news cameras for the first time to address the massive attacks that killed Iran's supreme Ayatollah.
An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat to the Middle East, but also to the American people.
Hope you guys caught that. Intolerable threat to the American people. That, my friends, is not just random political speak here. That's not diplomatic language. That is Trump telling you exactly why this had to happen. They attempted to negotiate. They couldn't get negotiations done. And this is what happened. And here's the thing. The media will deliberately ignore a lot of things. And people in the chat, we're going to have some disagreements on some situations, but I'm just delivering the facts on this particular scenario, not diving into rabbit holes for this particular video. But Trump warned Iran after Operation Midnight Hammer. He said, don't rebuild your nuclear program at a different location. And what did Iran do, guys? What did Iran do? They ignored him.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the president gave the go-ahead on Friday afternoon, watching the attacks hours later from his Mar-a-Lago resort. Hegseth was pressed today on whether Iran posed an imminent threat to the U.S., given the plans did not go through Congress, and following last summer's operation that the administration said, quote, obliterated the country's nuclear program. He didn't offer.
So let's jump into what Pete Hegseth said about this situation here. Pete Hegseth has a message for the entire world that he's not messing around.
If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you.
We will hunt you down without an apology, without hesitation, and we will terminate you. This is exactly what I've been telling you guys. This isn't Obama's military where Barry Soetoro sends money in exchange for prisoners, because we know about that situation. This isn't Biden's strategic patience nonsense where that crazy, ridiculous withdrawal from Afghanistan, leaving hundreds of millions of dollars of weapons there. This, at least in my opinion, is America First style warfare, where we can actually win. Now, a lot of people probably in the chat, probably in the comment section are going to say, hey, we don't want an endless war. We don't want, these endless wars. And I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree. But there's some major differences between this particular situation and the Iraq situation. With Iraq, obviously, we had foot soldiers on the ground and we were taking over the land. In this particular scenario, we're currently only striking in air and sea. But I want to give you guys a little bit more context on this, because look at what the mainstream media's response. ABC News is worried about the mounting questions on why U.S. launched this attack, which is arguably correct.
Bill, good morning. I just got off the phone with the president. He is very pleased with how things are going. Obviously, is disheartened about the loss of life, and there may be more, he said, along the way. But as far as the progress, he said they are ahead of where they thought they would be. I want to read some of these quotes that I asked him and how he answered. He said that as far as a plan, they do have a plan, always had a plan. The intelligence, the level of intelligence that they've had up until this point is truly amazing. I asked, so what you're saying is that there is somebody on the ground in Iran that is going to rise up. Quote, yeah, I feel there is. I feel that, and some of them are no longer with us, to be honest, because it was 49 leaders that were taken out. That was going to take 4 weeks, we thought, to get rid of the Iranian leadership. And it's always, if they hide, it's a lot longer than 4 weeks. And they would have been hiding. We were shocked when we heard what was going on. We knew exactly what was happening and where. 49 leaders. And, they're talking about using people now that nobody ever heard of, even though they don't know. They're using people, studying people to be the leader that even they don't know who they are. Can you believe that? I said, it's a tough succession plan in Iran. He said 49 leaders is deep. It's very deep. When they met for breakfast. They assumed it was good for a lot of reasons. Number one, they didn't think we knew, but you never attack in the morning, having to do with winds and sun and a lot of things. It was amazing that we knew everything we knew. He said there is a plan. He points to Venezuela as a template, which means to me that going in, they had some sense on the ground of what was coming next. As far as the military operation, he said there is no greater military in the U.S., and he was praising General Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, for the news conference that he just watched. Cut and dry, as he said, central casting, and they have a job to do, and they're getting it done. Wow. So from the President of the United States, he is pleased, does believe that this is going faster than they thought, and he believes that 4 weeks is something that they had put as a kind of calendar of what they were looking at as setting the table.
Let's jump into what Trump has to say on this presser. This was a couple minutes ago here. This was about 4 hours ago. Let's jump into this.
Ceremony, and there's no ceremony that can be much more important than this. Let me provide a brief update on Operation Epic Fury. Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime. Following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer a short while ago, we warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location because they were unable to use the ones that we so powerfully blew up. But they ignored those warnings and refused to cease their pursuit of nuclear weapons. In addition, the regime's conventional ballistic missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear, colossal threat to America and our forces stationed overseas. The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America. The purpose of this fast-growing missile program was to shield their nuclear weapon development and make it extraordinarily difficult for anyone to stop them from making these highly forbidden by us nuclear weapons. We were the ones that were complaining. We were the
So let me just jump in real quick, because I think there were a couple different major objections here. One of them was obviously to destroy Iran's missile capabilities. Obviously, that's something that they're actively monitoring. Annihilate their ships, their Navy ships, 11 of them as of the recording of this particular video at the bottom of the sea, and then ensure that Iran never nukes again. That was an absolute check. And then stop Iran from funding terrorism. Obviously, this is a big one because this is about Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, all of Iran's terrorist proxies here.
The ones that wanted it stopped, but everybody was behind us. They just didn't have the courage to say so. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat to the Middle East, but also to the American people. Our country itself would be under threat, and it was very nearly under threat. I was very proud to have knocked out the Iran nuclear deal by President Barack Hussein Obama. That was
so. Remember that. And I'm jumping in here because Trump terminates that Iran nuclear deal in his first term. And that deal specifically would have given Iran nukes legally. Biden comes in, tries to restart the negotiations, sends Iran billions in sanction relief. Iran uses that money to rebuild their nuclear program and expand their missile capabilities. Trump gets reelected, immediately warns Iran, hey, don't rebuild. Iran ignored him. Trump launches Operation Midnight Hammer, which was a couple months ago, obliterates their nuclear facilities. Iran still tries to rebuild in different locations. Trump then launches Operation Epic Fury, a full-scale military assault.
Absolutely shattered violently. It was almost certainly caused by an Iran roadside bomb. They were put there by General Soleimani, who was the father of the roadside bomb. Very proudly, he thought, but I terminated him in my first term. This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing. So,
because I fast forward the video a little bit. So according to reports, and this is what Trump is talking about, American casualties from IEDs, the roadside bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan, were traced back to Iranian support.
Doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. And they are indeed sick and sinister. Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good.
Let's see what else we got here. So far, just in regards of the American casualty count so far, Trump acknowledged in this particular speech. I'll place a link for it in the description down below if you want to catch the entire thing. But 4 Americans have been killed in action. Trump acknowledges them, obviously honors them, and promises that their sacrifices won't go in vain. Obviously, we have to really compare this to the previous administration. We got to compare this to the Biden administration. The withdrawal where 13 service members died, and Biden just checked his watch at the ceremony. You guys remember that? When they were doing the thing and he checks his watch. So this is the main difference between leadership here. And, you know, Trump obviously didn't go through Congress before launching because the threat was obviously imminent. And I want to tell you guys, right? The Ilhan Omars of the world, the AOCs of the world are saying that this launch is illegal. They're saying that this launch is illegal, guys. And I'm here to tell you that this launch wasn't illegal. It was just undocumented. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Drop your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.